But had that been a mosque, they wouldn't have ran up in there. I just seen the craziest video of people protesting ICE, and they ran in a church service while people were worshiping, protesting ICE, because one of the pastors at the church or one of the clergy members work for ICE. I don't care what religion it is, whether it's Muslim, whether it's Buddhist, whether it's Jewish. If people are actively worshiping, something need to be sacred. Just because you don't believe in God doesn't mean that you get to trample on people's belief and trample on their sacred worship service. You don't have to be the most religious person in the world to know that, number one, it's illegal. Number two, it's off limits. I get that y'all protesting ICE, but just because that person work at ICE don't mean that he's down with the fugazi stuff that's happening outside. Y'all got to put our thinking caps on. And then they running up in the church. Mind you, they running up in the church. They putting phones in families' face. They putting phones in little kids, families, teenagers' face, saying you're in church worshiping Jesus, but you're not protesting ICE. Why are you not protesting? How you need to go outside and touch grass, because your For You page shows you what you should be outraged about. But there's a whole genocide going on in Nigeria with Christians, but because it's Christians, nobody cares. You see what I mean? But your For You page makes you outraged, because there's a lot of stuff going on in the world that and I'm not saying we gotta have a struggle Olympics. What I'm saying is these people are worshiping. And that video made me sick to my stomach, literally.
Man, I just sat there just in complete disbelief because I couldn't wrap my head around what I was watching. Not just because of what was happening, just because how comfortable they were monetizing it, right? Pushing it like it was some bold stance or something righteous. Like really, this is what y'all decided to double down on? Out of everything you can stand for, this is the hill that you want to die on. And what really blows my mind is the silence. The silence is loud, especially from folks who go to church or even say they respect the church. And I'm talking black folks too, because y'all quiet on this and y'all always want to sit there and say, oh, well, we not going to fight this battle. We out of this, black folks. Black people ain't in this. But at the end of the day, aren't you the most faith believing race, right? And I'm a black person. Most of us are Christians. That's my point. So I know we tend to stay silent on a lot of wild stuff. I get it, but you telling me this don't cross the line for you? Cause let me tell you something. If you let people spit on sacred things and just walk away like it ain't your problem, don't be surprised when they keep pushing that line further and further. Because what makes you think they're gonna stop there and not walk onto your doorstep or your church or anything? Hopefully not. I don't wish that on anybody, but you get my point. And I'm not saying sit out there and be agents of chaos in regards of standing for it. What was right is right and wrong is wrong. And if this is okay to y'all, what's next? They're gonna start yanking statues of Jesus off the wall and call that progress, because that's the direction it's heading. And the crazy part is this kind of blatant disrespect only seems to fly when it's aimed at Christianity. And I don't see nobody storming into mosques doing this kind of mess. She mentioned it very well in this clip. And I agree. And ain't nobody running up in synagogues causing chaos. And let's keep it a buck. They don't even come for the Satanists like that. The Satanists for the people in the back. You don't see no big media push, no protests, no think pieces when it comes to them. But let it be about Jesus. Let it be about church. And suddenly everybody got a camera, everybody got a mic, and everybody's bold, right? Because you got Don Lemon, he want to pop out in the sanctuaries, in a sanctuary like it's open mic night, like we at Applebee's, a karaoke night or something. But the simple fact is, had a nerve to claim that he's a Christian to absolve himself from walking into somebody's house of faith, in the house of God, in regards of being so disrespectful. And not only disrespecting the service, but me being a Catholic, when service is begun, God is present, right? The Spirit is there, the Holy Spirit. So for you to do that, it just show how demonic, how disrespectful, and how evil spirited you are at a cost of $1 to monetize and use a moment to shame or mock Christians, and then sit there and say you're a Christian for content to just for monetary gain. There's a fine line and boundaries need to take place, and that's why, according to the FACE Act, you can look up the law, that is trespassing. A church is property. And the pastor, thankfully, he was very civil. He was very composed, better than I would. Now, would I be violent in response? No, but I'll be walking his hand out like a child, like I do my 6-year-old, redirecting him to sit their ass down outside, not on the property, but they're gonna have to sit their ass on the curb somewhere across the street. So if I gotta hold your hand and take your ass over there, then that's what I'm gonna do. But just don't sit there and act like, oh, why you put your hands on me? It's the same reason why I could say, well, why you trespassing? So standing your ground, there's nothing wrong with it, and it doesn't have to be a negative thing, right? Christianity, when you look at it and you read the Bible, individuals were martyred for being followers of Jesus, just to spread the good word, to be saved spiritually, mentally, emotionally. And now you have individuals who want to be better humans in regards of spiritually enriching themselves. Because see, the cheat code of life is the Bible. It teaches you about life. And you take that lesson in the Bible and you apply it to this current time, day and age, to continue to be a better person. Because we all have things to work on within ourselves, whether you're Christian or not. This is just the truth, right? And if you continue to be complacent and think you don't have nothing to work on, then you just an arrogant hothead with a big ass airhead of yours who feel as though that you better than everybody. And usually people that happen to be like that is the pride before the fall. So I don't understand why Don Lemon would think he could do something like that, because there's sacred things you leave alone, whether you believe it or not. And that's just basic respect. And don't give me that peaceful protest nonsense either. And ain't nothing peaceful about ambushing people in the middle of worship with microphones and accusations that ain't even been proven, because obviously the accusation was that pastor who wasn't even the right person was working with ICE. But like I say, if you read the Bible says to follow the law of the land, and who God appointed as the worldly leader, president, local legislators, it happened for a reason. And we understand that God wouldn't let things happen not with a reason. He has a bigger purpose far than we can understand. That's why you pray for foresight and understanding, because things will be revealed over time. But you put your trust in him, hopefully, not walking in the spirit of fear, to understand that it's bigger than you and he knows what he's doing. And that's what it's about. See, we all know that God is in the building. You can worship outside, you can worship wherever you want to worship at. But the simple fact is, it does say to be in a stewardship or be around individuals that are like minded, right? Two birds of a feather flock together. I don't think these individuals who were looking to be spiritually enriched and pour into each other and receive the word of God, to go out there in the world to continue to be a better person. But not only that, to basically reset on a holy day, Sunday, to start their work week, and they were just going in peace, which may be their home church and family members and their children, modeling them before them faith, because faith without works is dead. And now you have people being in there being ambushed on the day of worship, just trying to lift each other up in spirit. And that tells you where we're at right now in this day, the state of the country in regards of these leftist lunatics, radical Democrats, right? Not to mention that Don Lemon, as a Christian, is knowingly living in hypocrisy, because if you feel as though you can ambush people and your Christianity is superior, or you being a Christian and you're better than those, where you can feel like you could ambush a place of worship amongst Christians, and you call yourself a Christian, you're gay. Now, whatever you do in your bedroom, that's fine. But I'm just saying the simple fact is, it is a sin to be with the same sex, right? And if you read the Bible, you will understand that that's why God flooded the earth, because it was corrupt. Incest was going on. Individuals was having children with their children. And he flooded the earth to get rid of the demonic, evil stuff that was taking place. And the sign of the rainbow was a sign to he wouldn't flood the earth again. So what I'm saying is, when you put yourself up for public persecution, or I should say, you're not above reproach if you put this out here and then try to go to an ambush a worshiping place or a place of worship for monetary gain. You're gonna get all the smoke you're gonna get. Just like I'm giving them the smoke now when it comes to Don Lemon doing that ignorant stuff. So And some people are a different type of Christian. I'm a stand your ground Christian. So which doesn't involve violence. It just involves actually standing for something and making it known, and also understanding that individuals will try you, and you have to be able to understand you'll be tested for what you stand for, and you respond correctly, right? You respond righteously in a wise manner, but still fight for what you need to fight for. You're not gonna let nobody bully you and push you to the ground, right? Just in a simple example, constantly and every time they push you to the ground, because the simple fact is they feel like, oh, well, they feel validated by bullying you because they have something deeper inside to deal with. How many times you gonna keep falling before you stand up and push them back and let them know, like, look, I'm not trying to respond this way, but you're not gonna keep doing this to me either. You'll be a fool. Just like if somebody painted you a picture, you're gonna let them paint you again if you can't trust them and they sitting there deceiving you. So I'm a stand your ground type of Christian. That's what I mean. But that's what I mean. Sacred things you just leave alone, whether you believe in it or not. Basic respect, and don't give me that peaceful stuff, because it's all assumption. Nobody got receipts, and like I said, that pastor they allegedly said was working with ICE, and if he was following the law of the land. We're supposed to pay our taxes. We're supposed to follow the law. God put them there for a reason. If you're a Christian, so I don't care. Don't pull this kind of. They didn't pull this kind of stunt when Obama was in office, right? You didn't see them feeling bold enough to try to you know, try to church back then when he was deporting illegals and putting them in cages. But let's go on to the next clip.
I get so mad when I get on Beyonce's internet and I see all these people talking about the atrocities of ICE. And it pisses me off because 9 times out of 10, you're not one of us whose neighborhood they didn't drop these motherfuckers off into. See, they're not bringing these illegal immigrants and all of their filth and all of their non-moral values that they bring with them, their uncivilization that they bring with them. They don't drop them off in y'all gated communities with the prim and proper manicured lawns. They're not dropping them off over there. They bringing them over here to the hood, to our side of town. We already got the YNs we got to worry about. Now we got these motherfuckers we got to worry about too, who don't even speak our language, who don't share none of our values or principles or nothing. You got your little nieces walking to school and got these motherfuckers whistling at them in some foreign fucking language that they don't understand. Like, please spare me the bullshit. Like, for real, for real. All these people that's detesting ICE, either you have not had to deal with the violence from these motherfuckers, or you just don't give a fuck. You ain't got shit else better to do with your day than to fight with the government. Or you simply doing it because it's Trump. Because y'all wasn't doing this shit when Obama was deporting these motherfuckers.
Exactly.
Y'all wasn't doing none of this. And Illinois is the absolute fucking worst because they're profiting the most off of these motherfuckers. Like, I don't care what nobody say. Call me what you want. I want them gone. And common sense will tell y'all asses, if the states would just turn over the worst of the worst, the ones who have committed crimes and been arrested for them, instead of releasing them back into our fucking neighborhoods, if they would turn them over to ICE and to the feds, ICE would be so busy with them that they wouldn't have time to worry about the ones who are truly trying to start a new life over here in America, who are truly trying to assimilate, who are truly trying to do better. There won't be no collateral damage. But since y'all want to play and y'all want to piss Trump off, which he don't give a fuck, he live in Mar-a-Lago, he in the White House, he don't care whether y'all get him or not. You know who's getting hurt, who cares? Us, the everyday citizens who gotta pay for this shit, the everyday citizens who gotta drive through this shit, the everyday citizens who can't get shit because they got a job that's paying halfway decent, but yet their taxes going to these illegal migrants who can stay at home all day with their kids and family and get $5K a month in food stamps. So yes, I'm pissed and I got an attitude. And I don't care what nobody say. You can't tell me I'm wrong. I have every right to be pissed. Every fucking right to be pissed. So yes, I support ICE. Flip them upside down, bend them over, bend them backwards, and put their asses in that car and send them back where the fuck they came from.
Shout out to Chicago. Because people forgot Trump had to literally step in and remove gang members from Venezuela that were posted up in apartment buildings. This is common sense logic though, right? Law and order. You cannot lead or operate as a country without law and order. You can't go to Mexico and not go in their country illegally. This is what it is. You can't go to China, boy. You will turn into sushi. So at the end of the day, these weren't just regular immigrants. Is my point. These were people that had been let out of prison, like real deal criminals, and somehow they just dropped into our neighborhoods like it's normal. And let's talk about Denver, right? Let's talk about Aurora. Major salute to the people living in the hood, right? Because they're the ones that's basically carrying the weight while politicians play political games and be performative and, play all these optics, act like they really care when they really don't. And they keep dropping these illegal immigrants straight into the communities, exhausting resources. Schools are shit. Schools overfilled with illegals. Um, Look, man, housing market is, first of all, they come over here illegal and then they get a house before you can get a house. Live an American dream, and you the one paying the taxes off of your back. Of working every day and working you behind, and they're going and getting first home time buyer programs and stuff that you can't even get in regards to even get a home, to even afford the maintenance on a home, because they taxing you to death and helping their illegals in exchange for their vote to stay in power. But really shows you that they can care less about the American taxpayer as long as they can keep upping the taxes to get money out of you like it's theirs, and don't really care about having your best interest, but enriching themselves and holding power and keeping the vote. And that tells you it's party over people, the American people to be exact. And when you look at it, in the poorest zip codes, giving them assistance, helping them buy up property in neighborhoods, black and brown folks, been trying to hold on for generations. And now, finally, I'm seeing people like her, a woman, shout out to this woman, open her eyes. And a lot of people are starting to open their eyes. Shout out to Trump for signing a bill today in regards of not allowing major corporations to buy up the housing market, where we have seen a lot of black and brown individuals complaining about corporations buying up houses and turning them into or buying people out of their houses because they tax to death and they can't keep up with their houses that they're trying to hold on since childhood, and they have to basically be bought out to be able to start over or start a new life because they're so in debt because they've been taxed to death property tax wise, where they can't upkeep the home, but they have a roof over their head and they're emotionally attached, and it's a home that they're trying to leave for generations from their family members that have been passed down their lineage, so someone in a family may have a place to stay whenever they may need to. But then the Democrats will keep taxing you to death with sanctuary policies, and then they'll sit there, not only take your property, put an illegal in it, who don't even have a social security number, haven't even paid taxes to put in the system, and you the working class American, at least you trying, let alone allow big corporations to sit there and buy up the whole block and turn it into a big ass apartment complex. So shout out to Trump for signing an executive order to not let big corporations buy up your neighborhood, and actually people can actually maintain ownership of their family houses. It's common sense shit. So when you look at all of this stuff and people opening their eyes, thank God, you start connecting the dots like, wait, this wasn't happening under Obama. So why is it full throttle now? Why is it the disrespect off the chart suddenly? And I'm going to be real. I hope Trump uses the Insurrection Act. Get these damn illegals out of here, because obviously these Democrats sitting here, they don't want to give over the data for the food stamps, because fraud is taking place. They got all these illegals on food stamps that ain't supposed to be on it, but the taxes is coming out of you to fund the program. And I'm all for helping people, because as a Christian, God says, help the poor, feed them, and also house them and shelter them if need be. Just like today. Well, as of yesterday, as of January 20th, Trump also brought mental institutions back. For those who are truly mentally ill, they will have a place to go and also be fed and have a nurse on standby to actually take care of them, so they won't be running rampant in the streets. And also homes and mental institutions also open for the homeless. Yes, I'm a Christian. God does say help the homeless, help the poor, shelter them and feed them. We're supposed to be more Christ-like as much as we can be. Now, we won't be perfect, That's why we're imperfect, made in his perfect image. But you're not going to tell me that we don't have a president that's not only a good Christian, actually have morals, actually is sane and have common sense. This is common sense shit. So when you look at all the disrespect, and you have these Democrat states sitting here taking him to court to fight and protect legals and prioritize criminals and illegals over the American taxpayer citizen who upholds the law, work and makes an earnest living. It's disrespectful. So I say invoke the Insurrection Act, get their asses out of here, let the military sweep them, and let the community be safe. You'll have stability and peace be restored. But check out this last clip.
I'm ready for a civil war here in Minnesota, in Minneapolis. I'm done. In the wake of this church that was invaded by a mob of angry activists, Nakima Levy Armstrong, former head of Black Lives Matter, that Marxist organization, some mentally deranged, bearded lunatic, William Kelly, I think is his name, getting in the faces of young women and children, individuals just going to church on Sunday to worship their Lord and Savior. Hack, loser, rejected from mainstream media, Don Lemon, getting in the face of these individuals that have nothing to do with what's taking place on the streets of Minneapolis, even if they had an argument against ICE. No, I'm done. I'm absolutely done. Right now, you have a circumstance where protesters on the streets, they're stopping individuals randomly. They think some dude is an ICE agent just because of the way that he's dressed, they knock him to the ground. They think that just because you drive a dark sedan with blacked out windows, you're a member of ICE. If I get called to do a Fox News hit for Laura Ingraham, I'm gonna take my wife's car so that I don't get misidentified as an ICE agent. I'm done. President Donald Trump, I hope that he goes and invokes the Insurrection Act. We have 1,500 members of our military standing by. And I want them here in Minneapolis to put a stop to all of this. The rule of law needs to rule the day. And so far, it hasn't. Listen, I appreciate the restraint, but the time is now. I hope you check out my weekly radio show Monday through Friday, 6 until 9 a.m. Central Time on the iHeartRadio app. You can always get caught up on the podcast. And my show is your number one source in Morning Drive here in Minneapolis, relating to all the controversies that we've been dealing with, from church mobs to fraud to ICE and their enforcement efforts. Again, tune in every single morning, Monday through Friday, 6 until 9 a.m. And I hope you'll follow me here. Thanks.
And there you have it, folks. I agree. I agree with everything he said. I also believe that Trump should just initiate the filibuster to get everything passed that he has planned to get passed to actually restore and help Americans be able to have more money in their pockets, invest in their family members, live the American dream, actually have ownership or uphold ownership when it comes to being able to acquire a house or get a house to pass down from generations to generations. Also, thank God Trump is actually helping people 401ks be successful and thrive. And a lot of people just ungrateful, and they're so busy being emotional and so busy hating this man for exposing the truth. And the only ones that's being loud and obnoxious and rude with these paid protesters by the Democratic Party is because they're being exposed that their faucet is basically being cut off from the name of fraud out of disrespect for the American taxpayer to enrich themselves through chaos, through fake nonprofits, through fake daycares, through fake nursing homes, through fake housing assistant programs or assisted living programs. And all of this happened in Minneapolis in the name of fraud with Somalians and Ilhan Omar, the congresswoman in Minneapolis, from Governor Tim Walz to Mayor Jacob Frey. I'm even throwing in there the damn chief of police, Brian O'Hare. He's a crook. So, because he continues to sit there and allow the 911 line to be hijacked, where individuals are actually reporting where ICE agents are instead of actually upholding the 911 line for actually people who have real emergencies to be able to enforce the law and protect the American taxpayer citizens, which allows you to have all these resources in the first place. It has been so far gone now to the point where these individuals feel like your taxpayer money is their money. when really it's the other way around. They work for the American citizen, and the only way that's going to be restored is, like I agree with him, if the law of the land, and in this case, law rules the day and the night. So yes, we know that Donald Trump has 1,500 military troops ready and standby, but the Insurrection Act put boots on the ground in Minneapolis, and restore order. Because how long are we supposed to sit back and be patient while everything burns, right? And look, this is getting out of hand, between running up in churches, tearing up sacred spaces, treating religion like it's a joke. It's out of pocket. One of the most disrespectful things I've seen so far. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, because maybe I'm tripping. As always, we just having a conversation, but I feel like we crossed the line and too many people are pretending like it's business as usual. Catch you in the next one. Peace.